Hello and welcome to another Smite video. This one might be a bit different than normal. Was thinking about doing a bit of, I guess, a overlook of a type of video, so kind of show the way that I play, in case anyone doesn't really play much Conquest and they're kind of curious of how to play a certain lane. I wouldn't say that, of course, I'm the best, I'm the master at this, or even adequately near great, but I think I'm pretty good at it, so... Usually, when I do start off in the duo lane, it depends on the type of hunter I'm playing. If you're playing an ability-based hunter, of course you want ability damage. So you want items like Bluestone Pendant first. Tier 1 Transcendence called Morning Star when you look on the list. It's around 500 something gold, 550 I believe. I get 2 health pots and a mana pot, and then I'll get beads depending on the laneage. Of course, you want to make sure that whoever you're going against is, what's the best way to describe it? I guess, the benefit for whatever relics that you have. So you want to make sure that, of course, I went against Medusa and Ymir, so that yells beads. So you want to make sure that you really do have the beads for those type of situations. So for this, as you're seeing, we got first blood, we cleared the wave, so what we ended up doing was going to take their buffs. And this is, again, just another payoff of, I thought this was a great match, so this is exactly the reason why I'm going over this match out of others that I've done. So this just shows, I guess, the early game pressure. Medusa does have really good clear, and so does Khepri. So if you level up your 2 as often as you can, and then get your dash on your second ability, so when you hit level 2, you want to get your dash, because you want to make sure that you can escape. You want to make sure that you can get out of the fights that you need to get out of. You never want to get your first ability, your I forgot the name of it, your acid shot for level 2, because it's just not going to help you. You want to make sure that you get your lane clear first and then your escape second. Always do that with any hunter. If you don't have a hunter that's not like that, then you want to play a little bit more passive. You want to make sure that you're able to clear lane with your guardian, or best way to describe it, I guess, is have a friend that plays too, so that you guys can help each other out. So if one can't clear the lane, the other can clear the lane, and you guys can kind of work off of what you have. I have a friend of mine, Mr. Perfect, who absolutely loves to play Guardian, and Khepri at that. So it makes my life a bunch easier, a whole lot easier, because I can rely on the fact that I know that he's going to get his root and his grab down, and that gives me the solidified damage that I can land whenever I need to go and get it. So Acid Shot, or Acid Spray, which is your second ability, does a ton of damage, and it spreads. So as you can see right here, the damage I do to him goes behind, and it's great. And then I got my ult, so I'm going to pop my ult here, try to just do as much damage as I can, get out of the fights, and it usually works a lot of the time. And also, a lot of the times, people do make call-outs saying that people are gone here, and actually I just realized that that's not Mr. Perfect playing Guardian, that's a friend of mine, another friend of mine, SPK if I'm not mistaken. He usually plays, what's it called? He usually plays Khepri, so that's kind of my fault, I'm not recognizing it, but, Don't do what I did, because that will get you killed. That's a little bit of a rookie mistake. But I did have my teammates to back me up, so he did the same thing. But yeah, I did have my teammates to back me up, so it's always good to make sure that if you're playing with at least 1 or 2 other people, you guys are communicating at all times, if anything, or get some communication across to help whatever's going on out of the way. So if you want to make sure that there's a rotation coming into your lane, you want to make sure that maybe your friend can come through and he can help as well, just so that you can assert pressure. And I feel like, and I think that it's been stated, if you're winning the early game in a lot of these fights, you should be fine majority of the time. So as long as you're winning the early game, you should be fine and able to invade, take their buffs, and usually when you go to invade early game to take their buffs, you want to take the 2 minis. The 2 minis next to the big camp. I'm pretty sure they're just called minis. I haven't heard anyone else call them anything but that. Take the 2 minis. If you clear a wave or 2 and then take the minis from the void camp and damage camp, that should propel you to level 2. And then even if you can at that point and you still have lane pressure, you can always go and you can grab the harpies, which are next to the gold fairy. You can get those harpies. That gives you coverage just in case anyone tries to invade in your lane from that area. You want to ward exactly where I'm standing. That helps you just in case, again, anyone from their team decides to come across there in case you're too pushed into their tower. You always want to make sure that in certain situations, you can make sure, oh, I said make sure twice. You always want to, I'm trying to find the correct word for it. I apologize about this. But let's see. You always want to make sure that when you're in your lane, and if you're too pushed up, you have your backup. So your Guardian, if he's there, usually a lot of the times now, the way Conquest is played, I'm playing casuals, of course. Ranked is kind of aids. But if you want to really have the best benefit when it comes to lane pressure, you want to make sure that your Guardian is probably in duo with you or even just in mid lane, and that will usually take the Guardian out of your lane into mid lane if they're smart and if they make sure, if they know how to rotate properly. If they don't know how to rotate properly, then that's not really your fault. That's kind of their fault for not doing that. That just gives you more XP, and it doesn't give them as much XP because they're taking off of their hunter. So they're kind of biting onto their hunter, and their hunter's not getting the XP, which puts you ahead of them, which is an amazing thing you want. You always want to be ahead of the hunter that you're playing against. If you're in any single lane whatsoever, you always want to be ahead of them, except if you're a Guardian. If you're a Guardian, you want to make sure that your rotations are on point, and you're able to help your teammates out whenever you're needed, whenever it's necessary. So, also, if you can rush trans, that's your best bet. I usually like to get Bluestone and Tier 1 Tier 1 Transcendence, aka Morningstar, and then when I come back on a typical back, I'll get like Tier 3 Boots because it does help a lot and it gets you where you want to be. It gives you the movement speed, just in case you need to make a rotation of any sort, just in case your hunter for some reason decides to leave your lane, which seems to happen a lot now. A lot of hunters do not like to stay in a certain lane. They want to make sure that they get rotations off. I don't understand why this happens a lot, but if you can rush Transcendence and you're ahead of your hunter, like I said, always rush Transcendence. As you can see at this point in the game, I'm 2 levels ahead. I don't know exactly how much gold I'm ahead, but the team is ahead 3k gold, so I'm assuming that means I have an extra 500 gold on top of them because I have 5 of the 10 kills of the 12 kills on our team. So, and also that most of those kills are, I'm pretty sure I killed Ymir twice and Medusa twice. I kind of split it up in that sense. Also, headsets. It's amazing to have a good pair of headsets because it lets you see exactly what just happened there. My friend did make a call out, but it was a little bit later than I anticipated. I looked on my map awareness. Is another key thing that you need to do when you're playing in any single role whatsoever. If you have map awareness, you're going to win majority of your fights, just to let you know that. So I noticed that Ymir was coming from behind me due to the fact that I have map awareness, which is something that, again, I'm going to reinstate this because I feel like nobody does this. It's amazing, and it helps you out so much in team fights and any single fight whatsoever. If you're soloing duo lane, if you're solo lane, because I know a lot of people like to camp solo lane when they're junglers, you always want to make sure that you can get across the damage that you need to get, especially in situations like this. So this was kind of something that I was glad that they were. They're too aggressive in our jungle, and there are levels behind us. I'm now 3 levels ahead of Medusa, and I'm 4 levels ahead of Ymir. This gives me the damage output that I have just exponential. I can kill probably Ymir with 2. I'm not kill, but I can take him half health with 2 or 3 autos with my 1 equipped. It just does insane damage, and the fact that you saw him ult there, that put him in a very bad position because that just gives me free auto attacks. He didn't cancel it. Medusa was kind of just running about trying to help out a Guardian, which didn't really help as well. So this just really helps. This is what you call the snowball effect. When you get 2 ahead of your game, or 2 ahead in your lane, and you kind of just go ahead and do whatever you want at this point. You're putting out the damage. You're taking care of your lane at this point. So what this enables you to do, if you really want to, is you can continue asserting pressure in your lane, or you can leave your lane and you can go to mid lane, something like that. If they're getting boxed out in mid lane, if something's really going on, if there's a team fight in mid lane for some reason, maybe there's too many people over there, you can come through and you have the level advantage on anyone in the match. At this point in the game, I was ahead of duo and the jungle. I was even tied with solo lane, so I could box the solo lane at this point. Although he does have healing, your 3 for Medusa does anti-heal by 50%. Again, I'm pretty sure I called out that. There you go. I called him out that duo lane was missing. The Guardian, he did try to come up through there. Wards win games. Socrates, yeah, Socrates says it pretty much. I forgot the name of the skin. I'm sorry about that. But it does help. And again, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm ahead. They cannot, if people try to fight you when you're ahead, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to be outputting so much damage. Again, if Medusa did ult there on top of your Mirzo, I probably would have died because I didn't have beads up, so I would have nothing else to do about that. But I did have my ult up, which kind of made me CC immune, so if she did anything, or if anyone came around me and tried to do anything to stun lock me, I had the advantage in that fight because it's kind of great that her ult makes you CC immune because you can't get frozen by anything. So it's kind of I wouldn't say a risk-reward type of situation, but it does a significant amount of damage. I'm pretty sure mid to late game, it does around 700 to 1,000 damage, just Petrify alone. And then if you hit them from behind, that's 75% of that damage. So if you have Transcendence built, like I'm currently almost have it built already, we're almost 10 minutes in the game, and I have Transcendence built. That's kind of insane. I usually don't get Transcendence if it's a very slow match, and it's a match that's not really taking much time. I don't get Transcendence built to probably I'd say 10 minutes, give or take, 10, 11 minutes. I don't have Transcendence actually online, which what I mean by that is I have it bought, not even stacked. So the fact that I have Transcendence fully stacked before 10 minutes, it's kind of insane because now I'm extremely ahead of the hunter. I'm 4 levels ahead of the hunter, and I'm 6 levels ahead of Ymir. Sorry, I actually did do math there because I was looking at all the other levels. I'm 6 levels ahead of Ymir. I'm pretty sure he doesn't even have defense at this point. He just has boots built. He keeps on dying in the lane, so he's not actually doing anything about this. This is why I'm saying early game pressure is extremely important. If you have early game pressure, try to assert it as much as you can. If the enemy team's too aggressive, it really does help you because not only can you push your lane, but you have a guardian that helps you push your lane as well. The only sad part about this matchup is that Ymir and Medusa have great lane clear. Their lane clear matches our own, so there should have been no troubles whatsoever in this duo lane. But they just weren't working together, so this kind of put the burden on them that they couldn't do much about this. So another lane rotation from the mid laner and the jungler on my team, which kind of just made sure that we kept the lane pressure that I keep on saying is so important to have. I did not rotate at this point because I wanted as much XP as I could get. I wanted to get all the levels that I could get. I could assert pressure in mid lane if I wanted to, or I could take their jungle buffs if anything, but I let the jungler on our team get it, and I let the mid lane on our team get it so that they can get ahead as well, because I'm pretty much just getting fed in my lane, so this gives me the opportunity to do whatever the hell that I want in duo lane. They can't really contest anything. And also Medusa's passive, which is called Sidewinder, which lets you, if you're walking side to side, your movement speed is 50% of walking forward, so you can have as many jukes as you want with this girl. It just makes you extremely mobile. It's great. You're able to pretty much, if you're in a fight, and usually, preferably, I like to get Fatalis, either 3rd or 4th item, but in this game, I kind of switched up the build a little bit because I was so ahead at this point that I could do pretty much whatever I want, just like I said. I'm not sure if I made a mistake here. I'm pretty sure I didn't. No, yeah. I think I was fine here. He misses ult, but this is exactly what I mean. The solo laner transported over. I'm not sure if our solo laner went over. I don't even remember who our solo laner was, actually. I'm going to wait and see who it was whenever I was buying items. So as you can see, at this point, I was just buying pen. So since I was so ahead, I figured I'd just buy pen, do more damage than I was doing for the 1 or 2 people that actually had defense on our team. Raw did not have defense. He was building stacks, so it kind of just made it easier for me. He just got boots, so he just got a little bit of movement speed on top of his passive, which gives him movement speed as well. So I did not want to fight Raw because I knew for a fact that he would just juke whatever I would get. And if his passive was stacked, he could just turn around for my ult and just completely avoid whatever was going on. So it was, it was a chalk v chalk in solo in this game, which was extremely boring for my guy if I was not aware, or if I was not mistaken about what I remember from this match. So again, if anyone's completely unaware about this, I should have stated this in the beginning of the video, but I was getting carried away. The jungle buff spawn when the lane minions hit, so if I'm not mistaken, that's around 30 seconds, and I don't remember the time that they respawn after you kill them. I think it's 2 or 3 minutes. Don't take my word for that. It might be something different. You might want to check that up just in case. But usually what you want to do is clear your lane at least 1 or 2 waves, and then go to a camp. If you have the pressure that I said that you have early game, you can go about and you can take their minis, and then you can go, like I said, and take the gold harpies if they're up, things like that. You could even push for the side harpies in mid lane if you're really crazy and if you have the pressure and they're still clearing their lane and they can't do anything about it because they took too much early game damage. Another great thing to do is, again, when you get the early game damage out, you want to push out as many pots as they have, especially on their hunter. You want to make sure that they don't have the health or the mana pots to do this. As you can see, my dual lane was transporting over, so I transported over as well because I'm a level 13. I'm pretty much significantly ahead of 2 of their teammates, 3 of their teammates, I would say. So it kind of just made my life a whole lot easier. As you can see, that just does so much damage. I had fully stacked Transcendence, and then I had tier 2. I think I was going for Jotun's Wrath at this point for the cooldowns for the ult and then for the 2. Her 2 does good damage, especially when you hit waves and stuff like that. It does, the splash damage is pretty solid. The best thing about it is that if you hit someone with your ult and then you get the stun off of it, well, not the stun, but if you kill them with the ult, what ends up happening after that is that it leaves a statue so that you could use your 2 off of that to get the damage. Well, I wouldn't say damage, but it's like having a lane of minions there without having the minions there. It's great. It helps you out with your lane clear. If anything, you can just leave that there. They have to deal with it. I would say preferably don't destroy it. Again, because this gives you kind of it's like having lane clear but without having the minions there, so it just gives you the additional benefit of it, and it gives you the range on their hunter. So if you position yourself off of the ult that you had previously in the team fight, so let's say you had their statue somewhere around there and this is just great teamwork in my opinion. We just kind of surrounded that guy. He couldn't scythe me. He wanted the kill off me, but he couldn't get it, and I greatly thank my teammates for being able to help out in that team fight when I needed them the most. But like I was saying, if you ult and you get the kill off of that, so it gives you the statue, you can position yourself so that that statue is in front of their minion wave when it approaches you. And maybe you're fighting your hunter or their guardian, something like that, so that you could position your acid spray to hit off of that statue to go and hit the minions and even whoever's behind them. So it's just like another tool to help you pretty much in any situation where you want to keep the range between their guardian and your hunter. I think it's great. It works. A lot of the times I've had it in certain situations. It's very peculiar. It doesn't happen all the time. So you want to make sure that's something that, the best way to describe it, that you act on it when it happens. So when these very odd and random moments happen, you want to make sure that you can act on it. And this was something that was important. I saw that Raw was in mid lane, so I wanted to dash and connect, and I couldn't land my autos because I really suck. But since my 3 anti-heals, I wanted to make sure that when his grab was ending, I could land and grab Raw at that point so I could stop any healing that he was about to do at that point. Same thing with Ymir. Not Ymir, sorry. Chalk. Sorry, yeah. It's best to go across and get that anti-healing with Chalk because, of course, Chalk is going to pop his heal in the middle of a fight, which kind of is a downside for you because if you can't stop Chalk's healing in the middle of a fight, he's going to kind of put you at a disadvantage because that healing is pretty significant if he's leveling up. And if he's just brawling you out and if maybe he has Stone of Gaia or Shield of Regrowth, he's going to be outboxing you and he's going to be out healing you and he's going to be out moving you because Shield of Regrowth just gives you, again, the movement speed. Stone of Gaia gives you the health per second and the mana per second. It just gives you just all these perks. And I just ulted just to secure the kill at this point. I just wanted to make sure that I could get it. She was too pushed up, so even if I didn't use my ult, I probably wouldn't have got her because of the fact that Medusa v Medusa is a little bit difficult because, again, I'm fast and she's fast too. Actually, I just realized I did not get Yolans. I got Crusher. So the reason behind me getting Crusher is that its passive is really, really good now, especially for a god like Medusa, where if you're going to use autos between abilities. So I didn't get cooldowns yet. It probably would have been a better idea for me to get Yolan's Wrath and then the Crusher because I would have had the cooldowns, which would have made the passive a little bit more beneficial, which if you're unaware of the Crusher's passive, when you're using auto attacks, it takes 1 second off of your current abilities every 5 seconds. So if I had something like Yolan's Wrath under my belt at the moment, I would have just been able to further enhance or fortify my cooldowns, which would have been great. It would have helped out a lot, and I would have been happy. What am I talking about? That would have benefited me a lot more is what I'm trying to say. I did go for Aussie after this, if I'm not mistaken. Again, Titan's Bane would have been a good idea, but I realized that I pretty much didn't need lifesteal this early because I was just doing the damage. I was outputting the damage. I had my lane pushed. I took the tier 1 some time ago. I didn't even need to fight the tier 2. I feel like fighting for the tier 2 by yourself is kind of a mistake because a lot of the teammates are going to rotate over, and that puts you at a disadvantage because you're in their lane. You have sorry. There's a lot of things going on. I haven't really talked for this long in a video, so it's kind of different for me. You're pushed up into their lane, so there's a lot of space between your lane and their lane. So this kind of puts you, again, at a disadvantage. That was a mistaken ult by man. I thought that Raw was going to turn around, which would have guaranteed the kill if I hit it. That was kind of my fault on that end. But that was a great tank. I didn't even realize. I just heard that he was going to ult, and I just figured that I did have Sank up, so that probably would have saved me in any situation. Even if he didn't or wasn't going to hit the ult, I wanted to Sank just for precautions because if he hit me and I still had my Sank up, that would have been just very bad. I probably would have died right there even because I wouldn't have had the health to survive the amount of damage that they output there. There was a team fight going on currently. I realized that I had 500 something health and I did have majority of my mana, but I did have the gold to go back and get my ASI. The team did have that fight under control. They were pushing the tier 1 tower, so this enabled me to go back, get my Aussie, get my tier 1 for my Titan's Bane. I kind of didn't need Titan's Bane. I could have got Fatalis. I really do love Fatalis on Medusa because it makes her passive just so much better. If you don't think that her passive's already great without Fatalis and you get Fatalis, you're going to realize that when you do get Fatalis on her passive, it's a lot more fun because you're just pulling jukes on everybody. And when you're autoing and you're using your passive to just kind of move to the side, sidewinder, it gives you a lot more outboxing potential over whoever you're going against pretty much. I don't think there's any other hunter like her in the game that has, or any other god like her in the game that has this passive that lets you box like this. His scythe did give him the heal that he needed. I realized that Raw was trying to pull something. I I'm not sure if I died. No, I didn't die right there, which is cool. I did realize that Medusa was coming up. So again, map awareness. If your mid lane does not, what's the best way to describe it? If anyone in the game does not ward certain key point areas like that, that area that I was stuck in when I was fighting Raw, that's a choke point. You want to make sure that you're able to ward that certain type of area. What this wordage gives you is that it lets you, what's the best way to describe it? It lets you see if anyone from mid's coming to you, if it lets you if the jungler's coming to you, it lets you see if the solo laner's coming to you, just in case the mid's not there currently. But I did see that even for some reason my duo was coming around that corner, just because I guess I heard it, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if I saw it on the map or anything like that. But sounds very important. I'm not exactly sure if sound travels through walls or around walls in this game. I'm pretty sure it travels through walls in this game. There's some games where it travels around walls, aka Rainbow Six Siege. So it's always good to have, again, the knowledge, the sound, and to be aware of your surroundings at all times. I was level 17. I was 6 levels ahead of Medusa. I was a level ahead of Raw. I was 5 levels ahead of Ymir, 2 levels ahead of Chalk, or 3 levels ahead of Chalk. No, sorry, 2 levels ahead of Chalk and 3 levels ahead of Thanatos. So this put me in just a great position to rotate around the map. I did not need to push tier 2 because I had the damage. I had the lane clear that no one else had pretty much. I could use my acid spray and clear the lane, which gave us the ability so that when our minions pushed up, they had to deal with our minions and the damage that we were outputting. Tier 2 tower was kind of just sitting there, so I guess that the team just wanted to attack solo lane because of the fact that solo lane didn't seem like it was that much of an issue. This was one of the few games, well, I wouldn't say the few games, but this was one of the games where I had an extremely I just had an extremely great game, man. I was just aiming. My aim was just on point. I was hitting all my abilities when I needed to hit it. I had the lane clear that I needed. I had the push that I needed. I had the camps that I needed. I had the farm that I needed. This is kind of what I feel like makes for a great game. It does suck in a way because it's always fun to have a game that's near, or I wouldn't say near, but that's close, where you and their team are outputting as much damage as you guys can output, and it's kind of like a very fair fight. But in this match, it just kind of wasn't a fair fight. We outcleared duo lane in the first. Basically, I guess the best way to put it is I outbeat my lane in the first 5 minutes. They were not coming back from that because of the fact that they kept on trying to push into our jungle, which we had the support from our teammates if we needed it. So if I needed to call out Giannis for the Giannis ult, he could ult in and have our jungler and him there in a split second. So that again, that just put us ahead of what their team could do because their mid laner was raw. The only thing he had was his movement speed and his ult. Even if he could get there in time, he had to aim his ult. Our Giannis just had to pretty much aim his ult in the general direction. Once he aimed his ult in the general direction, he could pretty much transport him and his teammates over there to secure whatever needed to happen. Again, team comp. Another thing, team comp is very important. If you have a good team comp, it's going to help out extraordinarily. It's just going to make your life a ton easier. And I was pretty much fed at this point. I had 18 kills. I didn't need to get any more kills at this point, man. I was level 18 ahead of their entire team. If this happens to you, who knows? If I do have a game where I have to play from behind, I'll probably upload a tutorial, or I wouldn't say tutorial, but a step-by-step on what I do to play from that point on. But this was just, again, a video of me playing from ahead. This is your ideal gameplay of what you want to do when you get the farm that you need. Once you get the farm that you need, you could assert the pressure in the areas that you need to do it, and you could pretty much just take whatever you need to do. I realized that we could have taken Gold Fury probably at least 2 more times than we got it this entire game. I think we only took Gold Fury once or twice. We only took Gold Fury that one time that we just took it right there. This was also another great team fight that we had. Everyone was pretty much just on point and outputting the damage that we could output. Sadly, I did not get the pentakill because my friend used the Giannis ult to get the pentakill, which really blows. But that was pretty much the majority of the game. Step by step, just talk of what I did and kind of what the team went about and what we did. Again, you want to make sure that when you're playing certain gods, you have the build that you have down packed. So again, I was playing an ability-based hunter, so I went for ability damage. You could build or auto attack damage if you want, but I prefer the ability damage because it just seems to it seems beneficial. And again, if you get ahead in a snowball match like that, you're going to do a lot more damage than you would normally do with an auto attack build anyways. I wouldn't have got that quadra kill if I didn't have the pen build that I had currently. So yeah, that was pretty much Conquest match with a couple of buds of mine, a casual Conquest match where we were all just communicating. We all had the gameplay down, and it helped out a lot. Again, it helped us out. It helped me out to know that I had the teammates to support me when needed to be. Team morale is another important thing. If you have the team morale, and what I mean by that is everyone's communicated, everyone feels like they're important in the match, it just makes your life a whole bunch easier because you guys can communicate. You can go across and say, oh, I need this guy, I need help in my lane because this guy's pushing my lane from another lane. It's important. It helps a lot. And the final item again on that build was Fatalis. You want to max your 2, or max whatever your 1 or your 3 afterwards. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the little video, or not little video, the big video for today. Take care.